Joshua had magic in his life. Josh had love. Josh lived. And what do you do with that? What do you do with that magic? What do you do with that love? What do you do with that spark when it's still floating around? I just think if we continually blame, if we continually criticise and remove hope, what we're seeing now will be the good old days. The level of crime, the level of pain, we will wish one day it would be like it was in 2022, because we're not moving forward at a fast enough pace to stop it going up and up and up. And my point about, or your point, sorry, a lot of people say they are doing everything they can. If that was true, how is it so bad? When a young person tragically and sadly dies from an illness, the outpouring of grief nationally is devastating. We'll have campaigns, we'll have concerts, we'll have massive multi-million-pound fundraisers. When a young person dies from a terrorist attack, from a horrific accident, outpouring of grief, things need to change. GoFundMe, £1 million, celebrities, concerts. When a young person gets stabbed, well, what were they doing?
People, you're now watching the Daily Devotion podcast, the space where we connect and engage with creatives from various industries to share insights on their journey thus far.
Do you remember calling Joshua's dad to tell him about the news?
No, because Joshua's dad's in prison, you don't have the ability to phone. And when family liaison officer, which are the police, come and speak to you, and they say, is there anyone else you need to speak to? I was saying his dad. And then I think on the same day, they came back to me and said, he has been notified. And then I arranged to go and see him. So it's so difficult, but, because of the amount of pain so many people are in, you have to kind of prioritise your own pain, make sure other people are okay and looked after within their category of pain. And as long as I know in my heart that there is a body of support around certain people, then I can focus on my section to know that he has his support. So, I don't have to worry about him as well as myself. So, but it's important that he, he's always remembered as Joshua's dad. Mm-hmm. He will always be Joshua's dad. And I'm glad that he was Joshua's dad, because if he wasn't, Josh would be a midget. Josh would be, Joshua was given the blessing of height, the blessing of skin colour.
Lean, athletic, stature.
And that's not from me.
Well.
So, he had the best from two people, and that other person was his dad.
Yeah, powerful. I want to touch upon, the remarkable work that you're doing, impacting lives. I'm sat here and I feel as if, I need to do more within the field that I'm in, but also how can I, touch people to make more informed decisions. You are like an angel. Proper. You've worked with over 450,000 young people.
It's gone up a little bit.
It's gone up a little bit. So
next year, and I will keep going. Next year, it will be 1 million. And I will take that, and I will be proud of myself for that. And because I talk so much and I do it en masse, suddenly here we are next year, which when it first clicked in my head what I was about to say, it hurt. I cried. I had to process. I had to think, next year's the 10-year anniversary. I don't actually know how I have got from the 21st of September at 5:58 a.m. to the 21st of September 2023 next year. 10 years without him. And I just have to take it for what I have achieved with him by my side, in the way that he's currently now, which isn't here but still very much alive. 1 million young people.
It's massive.
And they have heard about my little boy. And if they choose to take elements of his life, to be inspired by it, to be changed by it, that will be the choice that they took. I've just enabled them to see the alternative to some of the choices they were making. And anybody, including yourself, if you want to empower, you give people all the choices you possibly can, and they will make the choice that they feel is right for them in that moment. And if they make the wrong choice, we need to then give them another selection. The wrong choice has been made. Here is your new selection based on that choice. And we keep going. And it's multiple choices all through life, and eventually we'll get that choice that hopefully will be the right one. But if we don't give them alternatives along the whole journey, they're going to come to a dead end at one point.
Yeah, it's definitely about empowerment. I think that was the phrase I was looking for when I said, be more informed. I think it's been about empowered, really and truly. And you definitely empower us. Like, this whole space just feels just different. And I know that is the same, if not more, with the young people who you work with. Up to this week, it's only the 3rd day, and you've already spoke to 4,500 directly. You've worked with nearly 1 million young people directly. You have your achievement awards. Speak on that. Speak on why you wanted to.
I'm smiling because everyone that watched this that knows me will be like, and she's off. All you have to say is the achievement awards, and I go, bing! Oh, it's the best thing ever. So basically, Joshua had magic in his life. Josh had love. Josh lived. And what do you do with that? What do you do with that magic? What do you do with that love? What do you do with that spark when it's still floating around? You need to give it to someone. And all these little loves, these little sweethearts that have been excluded, been arrested, come out of prison, why don't they deserve that little spark? Because if their light is going out, let's reignite. And all I did through the power of love for Josh is go, right, you don't get what mainstream kids get. You don't get what mainstream society gives young people. Let's give some of that to those that we don't necessarily always acknowledge. And their achievement awards. What's your achievement? I'm trying.
It's enough, that's enough.
That is all I want to hear. You are trying. Let's make sure that trying becomes something else. I've stopped kicking off. I'm trying to process my pain and anger. Congratulations. I could not care less if people don't get it. They don't have to. If you don't understand hurt people, you're very fortunate. I do. So all I'm doing is taking Joshua's love, Josh's magic, and going ding. And then that whole night lights up. And those people feel that magic that young man, Joshua, my son, was given. And that's what it is. And it'll be my 4th one next year. I really hope you both come.
Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
And it is absolutely, if you knew Josh, you walk in and Josh is everywhere. It's not about Josh. It's not about Depzman. It is about 22 young people in my son's memory. When you walk through the door and you see the biggest Frere Rocher tower thing that was created, that's what Joshua loved as chocolate. When you see the Krispy Kreme donut wall, that's what Joshua used to steal from petrol stations. When you see the alcohol, because my son drank a lot. When you see the Caribbean food, because I could never cook, so he always went to his friends. When you see every element within that room, that is Joshua in a whole space, and you take that bit of magic and you take that with you, and off you go and have a lovely evening. We remember Josh, and we enable those young people to believe in themselves. We support their families, because when you're a parent and your child isn't necessarily going down the right path or the mainstream path, it's easy to be ashamed, it's easy to be embarrassed, it's easy to, you know, lower your head and feel ashamed. But why? Why should you? What right has society got to make you feel like you should be like that? We don't help you. How are you going to be the best you can be? So those parents come and you stand by your children's side, proud that your child stopped telling everyone to fuck off.
Excellent. Well done.
It's the best thing. I absolutely adore it. I love it, and I will do 10 of them. I'll probably do more, because I say that, I think, no, I'll keep going. I'll keep going until I can't stop. And I will make sure that that is an evening that is a reflection of Josh. I just love it.
It's the accumulation of the small things, isn't it? Like those things that seem so insignificant to others. Oh, why stop kicking off? Or she started attending. One more set or lesson. That actually needs acknowledging. That is what you're doing.
If we don't acknowledge it, how will they ever know that what they're trying to do is actually paying off? Hard work does pay off, we know that.
It's reinforcing it.
We know that in mainstream,
Yeah.
but some young people aren't mainstream, they're their own stream. And just because they don't fit in and they don't get all their A stars, does that make that young person less valuable than that other human being? I thought we were all the same, but that's not how we treat young people. We put them in sections, and if that section isn't that section, they're not good enough. No, they're not. You take those kids and you play the violin while you give them a dry certificate, and I'll give the young people that I want to give that moment. And that's up to me, isn't it? Because no one else does it. If I do it, I can do whatever I like.
And that's what I was about to get onto, because, as we said, I've come, like, we see a lot of these, advocates for change, whether it's knife crime, whether it's gun crime, whatever else. You're obviously a massive support mechanism, if not one of the biggest support mechanisms we have in the UK, through your experiences. Do you feel as if, no, in fact, like, one, how receptive are the young people to your message? Whether that be in the schools, detention centres, in jails. Like, in fact, jails, what is it like when what's the environment like? Is it a group of bad boys that think, I'm sitting down doing my bird? Is it, I'll ride this, it's all right? Like,
no.
What is it like, actually?
It is a human being that we need to stop. Again, it's just my opinion. What we need to do is generalise everyone the same. You will go into prison, and out of 100 inmates, there will be a few that have intentionally committed a crime and have gone to prison. There will be an awful lot of hurt and traumatised young people that life experiences has led them down a path of sheer devastation, to themselves, to others, to their victims. There'll be mental health, there'll be trauma. There's an awful lot of pain within prison, self-inflicted pain and pain that they've caused other people. And you feel that when you go into that environment. Now, I'm a firm believer that if we had shown these young people a better path, enabled young people to get on that path, and when they fall off that path, lovingly boot them back on it, support all the people around them that might have suffered and struggled to be the best positive influence they could have been, prisons wouldn't be full of so much pain. We would have a minority in prison. And there are people that need to be in prison. There are people that should be in prison. And I just think if we continually blame, if we continually criticise and remove hope, what we're seeing now will be the good old days. The level of crime, the level of pain, we will wish one day it would be like it was in 2022, because we're not moving forward at a fast enough pace to stop it going up and up and up. And my point about, or your point, sorry, a lot of people say they are doing everything they can. If that was true, how is it so bad? Mm-hmm. Because I don't think everybody is doing what they can. I can say it confidently, perhaps with arrogance, perhaps with whatever people want to say. And the reason I can say I am doing what I can is because I am doing more than what I can. I am out every day, every single day, from first thing in the morning till, I left here at 7:45 this morning. I have no idea what time it is. It doesn't matter what. So far 12 hours.
12 hours.
And that's fine. And I don't just do that once a month, put something on social media, take a picture of myself and say, look what I'm doing to change people's lives. Day in, day out, day in, day out. And it's hard. And I just feel that if we got everybody that had an impact and everybody that could do what they could do and got them out there, supported and enabled them to do it, we'd have a bigger impact on young people. But we're working against each other, we're in competition with each other, and that's never going to make it become a mainstream, impactful solution to youth violence and negative choices.
What are some of the... Before I ask this, I suppose it's hard because everyone will look to you, or other organisations, other advocates will look to you for the solutions. The prison service will look to you, the detention centres will look to you, schools, parents, families, people on road will just look to you to be like, Alison, give us the
But
key
they don't
domino.
Listen. You will have some very passionate, some very genuine people who care. What makes it difficult, it's like with anything that's potentially government-led, you have people in power that it's not their problem, it's not really their problem. We'll stand up and say, oh yes, this is not good enough. But it's very complicated, youth violence is, because there's so many elements. It's not a simple thing of we need to start recycling plastic and then we can be seen to save the planet. We are talking about all these different elements, and when we look at how many things we need to invest in, roll out and support, it's like, we're not going to do that because the young people that get involved in knife crime, they're, second-rate citizens and they're not my problem, and my children aren't like that. So why am I going to invest government money into people? It's their own fault. And I said this recently on social media, when a young person tragically and sadly dies from an illness, the outpouring of grief nationally is devastating. We'll have campaigns, we'll have concerts, we'll have massive multi-million-pound fundraisers. When a young person dies from a terrorist attack, from a horrific accident, outpouring of grief, things need to change. GoFundMe, £1 million, celebrities, concerts. When a young person gets stabbed, well, what were they doing?
It's their own fault.
Yeah, well, what do you expect if you're involved in that? Involved in what? What did they do to deserve to die? I'm not quite sure. And that stigma, that judgment, is proving enough to not make it priority. And there are certain pockets of individuals who desperately want to make it a priority. They want to see change. And then all of a sudden, to get everybody on the same page is proving very, very difficult.
What are some of your, because obviously that just speaks to me about a mindset. It speaks to me about a collaboration between people of all classes, because I think it's classism. I don't think it's much as racism so much or whatever. I think it's more of a classism thing, as you said, second-rate citizens or whatever, or working class, whatever. And you speak, that really heavily emphasises collaboration. Let's get together, let's get our heads together, let's plan, let's implement things, let's prevent. What are some of your personal goals or aspirations moving forward with this pandemic of youth violence?
I hope I'm starting to crack those that didn't necessarily have a real understanding. So my role and what I hope to do is not just educate young people, is educate the people that probably don't even realise they need educating. And I've managed to get through to some, you know, children's services leads, council leads across the UK who eventually, after sheer determination, all I'm asking you to do is hear what I've got to say, and if you don't feel that in your heart and realise that this is not okay and needs prioritising, there's nothing else I can say to you. Once they hear, they feel and they see, they prioritise, and there's some amazing people across the UK that are starting to actually look at it differently. That tide starts to turn on a national basis, and all of a sudden we start to do what we need to do. And, you know, I'm not just saying it because I'm in Sheffield. Sheffield Council are doing a really, really good job of not just saying they're doing, they are doing. And that is happening in other councils across the UK. And it's tough because you're constantly knocking on doors and that door's getting slammed in your face. And the perception is, oh, another grieving mum trying to stop knife crime. Any mum has the right to voice her opinion. Anybody should be allowed to try and save somebody's life. And people should be respected. That if you've lost your child and your child's been murdered, at least give people the common decency to hear what they've got to say, regardless who they are, what profile the case is. Have respect for another human being. And then if we get the people that have an impact and support those that want to make change together, and if people aren't willing to be scrutinised, assessed and watched, and they're just on their own little bandwagon, why would that be? Are you not having an impact? Is it not really for the young people? Is it about yourself? You know, open the door and let people see what it is you do, how you do it, and if it does have an impact. And if it does, you won't have anything to worry about. I can stand in front of anybody and their life might not be changed, but they will suddenly see not just Depzman's music, they will see Joshua the little boy. How resilience, choice and love can be very key factors in the change in someone's life.
Powerful things. I'm blown away because, again, I touch upon it again and I'll continue to touch upon it, that your essence is just to give. And it's not to give back, it's just to give, you know. It feels like...
I think it's a redirection. I think I'm only redirecting what I have. I'm not trying to give something that I don't have out of a moral need, out of a want for change within me. When you say Josh, all of a sudden I'm overflowing with love because that hasn't gone. It hasn't died. My heart hasn't died. My heart has broken. But my heart was shattered into a million pieces. But each one of those pieces seems to be beating louder and louder as each day goes by, and swelling, and it keeps popping, and this love just needs to go ding, ding, ding. And, you know, Josh was worth loving, and if he wasn't, there wouldn't be that amount of love left. So all it's doing, it's just spilling out, and what do I do with it? Drown under the weight of it, or just release it? So every time I go in front of a school, child, college, prisoner, parent, podcast, anything, all it's doing is flowing out. And it's up to people, you know, how they take that, what they do with that. My love for Josh is not going anywhere. It's growing and growing and growing. Those pieces aren't joining back together, but each piece is beating and beating strong. So it's not that I'm, you know, building anything back up. It hasn't gone. So...